JB here. Hope I was doing outstanding. December 23rd, 2024, 9:02 on this fine Monday, Christmas Eve. Going to be a quiet week, not much in the way of data. Markets are closed tomorrow at 1 o'clock and completely closed on Wednesday for Christmas. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And typically, the next 2 weeks are very scaled back in regards to analyst upgrades, downgrades, things like that. So certainly going to be interesting, especially on the heels of last week's sell-off, Fed-induced sell-off. So take a look at S&P futures. Well, market futures were actually higher this morning and have since paired some of the gains. Nasdaq futures are still in the green, and the SPY is right near its 50-day moving average here in the pre-market. So that's a key spot I'll be watching. I was talking about it last week as well, but I put on the watch list this morning. My concern is like we kind of like broke the proverbial seal, right? So it's like the market's been in this tight trading range, kind of melting higher, not much in the way of large swings, volatility was coming out, and then all of a sudden, within a matter of a couple minutes on last Wednesday, that trading range was gone, and now it's like we've almost opened the opportunity, the possibility of more volatility in the coming days. I hope that's not the case. Tomorrow starts the supposed well, I call it the unofficial, but the official Santa Claus rally timeframe, which is 5 days until the end of the year, and then the first 2 days of the new year. I did a little uh, kind of looking at the historicals, and someone actually responded with 2018. But if you take a look at the small caps, they've been down for the past 5 years during the Santa Claus rally period. And then the 1 year was 2021 into 2022, and small caps are up 1.4%. Hopefully, we get the reversal, and now we can, instead of it being the last 4 to 5 years to the downside, we can get some kind of constructive rally into the end of the year. The good thing, there's not much, like I said, in the way of market catalyst data, no earnings, no Fed speak, things like that. So if we do start to get some momentum, and if it's to, some buyers come in, it's to the upside, and hopefully we get a nice melt into the end of the year. And then so things I've been looking at, and things I'll be watching today, especially if we don't break over that S&P. A lot of the conversation that's been for a while is about the market breadth, right? So first it was the Dow's 50-year consecutive loss. What was it? 14 sessions, whatever it was, 10 sessions in a row, biggest losing streak in 50 years. And then the talk was amount of stocks declining on the S&P. So it was 14 straight trading sessions. The amount of stocks declining on the S&P exceeded those advancing, which again is another like 50-year record. And then the chart I was posting, which I've been doing since the summer, has been the amount of stocks trading over their 50-day moving average on the S&P. So you take it the glass half full, glass half empty kind of conversation. If you're bearish and you're like, wow, this means that we're set up for a big move to the downside correction, or if you're bullish, you say, wow, every time this has happened. So you take a look at the last time the amount of stocks traded under a 50-day moving average at this level was back in August and May, which were the bottoms, and similar to if you take a look at the advanced decline. So this is the amount of stocks trading under their that decline. Similar story. If you pull it back, this level, summary, I don't have the chart going all the way back, but the same bottoms were back in May and back in August, the two times we've hit bottom. So I'll take the latter as opposed to the start or something. And then maybe this is the week and into the New Year's where we can start getting some momentum. Last but not least, this is from Market Watch. Nice little list here, and I got to pour over stuff. I'm still working on my top 5 stocks for 2025 webinar. That should be up this weekend. Don't be surprised if one of the stocks or two of the stocks are I get in before the end of the week. But nice little list here. These are the amount of stocks, the tax loss selling list, right? Names that have been oversold this year that might see a bump at the start of next year. So nice little list there. A lot of names on there, but interesting stuff. All right, so now individual names. So just in a nutshell, this week, and I talked about it on the rant Friday morning and on our watch list. Friday was like a textbook reversal day. Like I wouldn't say it was capitulation, but it felt like once we hit a part, point in the morning where we start to reverse, that the bulls would come in and push it higher. It was triple witching. So, and that's exactly what happened. We got down. I mean, it was 578 in the pre-market, but all the way to 580, 581. All of a sudden, we just started melting. Once we broke 584, it was off to the races. Just I just want to see that 50-day moving average get closed above that level today and tomorrow. It's 589 and change. If we don't, I'll still be open to more put hedges, right? Until we find some footing. Uh, Similar names, Palo Alto, Broadcom, MDB, and then I brought up some other names. So Intuit and um, Deckers, right? Those would be two longer term names, not even like weekly put hedges. Those might be names I think might sell off just on their own merits, regardless of what the market does. All right, so now more individual names. Solar Edge, I just posted before. I mean, it's 34% short interest breaking out of its downtrend. Once this breaks, it's going to be off to the races. I mean, I've been saying it for the last week and a half. Solid day. I mean, up 12% on Friday. Recouped the losses from Wednesday and Thursday. Some follow through here today, and I think it's good to go. I already talked about Goldman Spectacular, gave it the double upgrade last week. JOBY, that key spot is 775, closed at 769. Gapping a little bit here in the pre-market over that 785. I was looking at the strikes, and I've been looking at April's, and now I start looking at the February 10s look attractive now on a risk reward basis. So don't be surprised if I add those on some strength. I kind of want to see it hold $8 or so. Uh, and then some other names. I'm waiting for the breakouts. I mean, Clear Secure still trading in that tight Bollinger Band range. Hit that lower Bollinger Band on Thursday, then reversed course, closed up 4% on Friday. Still very tight, and I kind of lightened up the annotations on the Bollinger Bands because they're hard to see, but it's still very tight. And once this breaks, it's gonna be off to the races. Uh, Lemonade also, you have a bull flag set up. Nice day on Friday, up 9%, still down. I think it was down barely in the red. So it's 3 weeks in a row that Lemonade has closed in the red, but it was barely down last week. So maybe this is it. The selling's done. The buyers can come in, and once that happens, the squeeze. And I think it heads over $60 in the coming days and weeks. Uh, then some other names. I'm still looking at TravelZoo here, and it was funny. I was talking about it on Tuesday. I'm like, wow, I missed it. It was all the way up in the 22s, and then Wednesday, Thursday gave it all back. A nice little bump here on Friday. It looks like it's trading right here at 20 in the pre-market. So definitely a name I'm going to get into 2025. I also TripAdvisor. So it was funny. The other day, I'm looking at the open. I'm like, wait, why? What's this news? I missed the TripAdvisor news. They actually acquired the Liberty TripAdvisor stake, which to me is a big deal because back in the spring when they were going to get acquired for $28 a share, what have you, it looked like Liberty voted against it. So now it looks like TripAdvisor said, all right, well, we have this cash. Let's just buy out their stake. So that's what they did. And I think it's at $16 is the valuation. Surprisingly enough, the stock had traded down into the 13s on Friday, closed at 13.79. I don't be surprised by, I've been saying it for the last 2 weeks or so that I at some point I'll look to add some I won't call them spec calls, but calls for a trade higher in the coming weeks. I mean, this company's well positioned, fundamentally sound. I've talked about TripAdvisor for a long time. They are the most trafficked travel site on the planet. So at some point when they can monetize it, the stock will reflect that. But interesting. So don't be surprised if I had some strikes there. And then on the flip side, I was talking about Decker and Intuit. So Intuit, that 50 and 200-day moving average got a break. It didn't do that on Friday. It was up 1%. Deckers was up nearly 3%. But if you look at this, I mean, I think there's an opportunity. And I mean, it's 200-day moving average all the way down to 260. It closed at did it close it? Yeah, it closed at 211. So that's a name. If there's an opportunity, especially if the market doesn't find footing over the 50-day moving average on the SPY, I'll look to get some later dated strikes. They're expensive though, so I'll be patient there. And I think that's it, folks. It's gonna be a quiet week, not much volume, which creates air pockets and an opportunity, right? Some things might be a little more volatile than normal. And I think tomorrow is typically one of the top two least volume days of the year. One of them is usually the day after Thanksgiving, but some of the other days in the summer have also had some low volume sessions. But tomorrow will be one of those. And that's it, folks. We got 14 minutes to open. I'll be back. No, 19. Let's have a great day. Rock and roll.